Okay, so investigation. How are we going to graph this line? So in the past, if we have 4x plus 2y equals 8, how do we graph the line? How would we graph the line? We figure out some y's, some points. Is that what we did? Okay, so here's our equation, 4x plus 2y equals 8. And I have x equals -2. How would I get the y value? Plug it into the x. So 4 times, whenever we substitute for x, -2 plus 2y equals 8. What's 4 times -2? So -8 plus 2y equals 8. Then, if we have a -8, we're going to add it to the other side because we want it to isolate for y. 8 plus 8. So this -8 plus 8 is gone. And we have 2a equals 16, or sorry, 2y equals 16. And then divide each side by 2, and we get y equals 8. Did a bit of work there for each one. Oh my gosh. Or we can just type it in. How could we just type it in?
Well, you can just divide it by 2 because it's a linear relation.
How do we, in the way we did it, the question was, don't we do it just the way we usually did it? Well, when we usually did it, we used our calculators, right, to help us? And there was a difference. The equation was, this button says y equals on our calculator. So the equation has to be in the y equals form to do that. Do we have y equals? No, we have 4x plus 2 8 equals 4x plus 2y, I don't know why y equals 8 right now, equals 8. So could we rearrange this for y equals to help us out? Because that seemed like a lot of work to do for each and every one. So could I solve or isolate y? Isolate. Yeah, we can. We can rearrange this formula. We can use our algebra skills. Now, our first step when we want to isolate for y, if x and y are on the same side, our first step is to move the x. Move the x. In order to move the x, because x and y are being added, we're going to use addition and subtraction. So Deanna, what am I going to do first? To isolate y, how are we going to move x? Are we going to add it or subtract it? So if we have a positive 4x, we are going to subtract 4x. So in this case, we do the opposite operation. Okay, so, and this will that get rid of the x on this side? 4x minus 4x minus, take away another, 4x minus 4x, is that 0? Yeah, so let's cancel that out. So on this side, what do we have? What do we have left over here? 8 minus 4x, or you can write that as -4x plus 8. They're not like terms, so we can't combine them. We have to write them separately. Okay, our next step. So that was our first step when x and y are on the same side, was moving the x. The next would be we have 2y, and how do we get rid of the 2? Divide by the coefficient of y. And everything. So everybody we're going to divide by 2. Okay, 2y divided by 2. 1y equals 8 divided by 2. 4 minus 4 divided by 2. 2x, okay? Is there another way I can write this equation? Because usually we have x first and then the constant. So what's another way we can write this equation? Y equals -2x plus 4. Okay, now that our y is isolated, would it be easy to solve for all our different y values when we sub in our x? Yeah, now we have y equals. So with our graphing calculator, we have our equation y equals -2x plus 4. just going to scroll up. So this became y equals negative 2x plus 4. Did everyone get that down, the equation? Okay, so let's plug in our values. So I'm just going to go quit out of here. So we can go and plug in our x value for negative 1. So negative 2 times negative 1 plus 4. Every time we substitute a different x, make sure your x is in brackets. So let's do that together. So negative 2 times negative 1 plus 4. I'm using this equation right here. We're subbing in our x value, which gave us 6. Okay, could we also type this into the y equals? Now that it's y equals, yeah. So negative 2x plus 4. And where do we get our table of values? Second graph. You can go straight to second graph even. So at 0, y is 4. So fill in the rest there. So just to review, you have to go to y equals first, and you have to type in the equation. Okay? After that, we have to, if you push graph, you can. We can also go second graph, and that gives you a table of values. And so then you can scroll up and down. So 0 equals 4, 1 was 2, and what was 2? 0. Okay, so let's plot these points. Plot these points. So x equals negative 2, y is 8. When x is negative 1, y is 6. When x is 0, y is 4. When x is 1, y is 2, and 2 is 0. And then last, draw a line. Always extend your line. We're not just connecting these points. We're actually extending the line from the top of the graph to the bottom of the graph. Okay? So always extend your line. I don't know. Okay, so now that we have that graph, let's move on to the next question. Now, does everyone have their line drawn? Oh, wait, yes. What's the y-intercept? 4. So the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So in this case, it's 4. And our slope is our movement, our rise over a run to get from one point to another. So if I'm starting at this y-intercept, I had to go down how much? 2, right? 1. So our slope is negative 2 over 1 or just negative 2. Looking at our equation, what do you notice? Remember our equation was y equals negative 2x plus 4 that we solved for y? Does that relate to our slope and y-intercept? Deanna, can you put that away, please? So how does that relate? What's the coefficient of x? The slope. So the coefficient is the slope, and the constant is our y-intercept. Okay, so next equation. Everyone have that one down? Okay. So instead of going through all that work again and plugging in an x and isolating for y, what could we do right off the bat with their equation? Negative 3x plus y equals negative 2. To make life easier. First step is move the x. So if we have a minus 3x, we are going to add 3x. So let's make the equation right off the bat. Okay, I have a y equals, so the 3x and the negative 3x cancel each other out. And so let's write the x first and then the constant, because that's the way the formula is written. So I have positive 3x and then minus 2. Okay, so grabbing your graphing calculators. Where do we go first? The y equals, and what do we type in? Our equation is 3x minus 2. And then now we want to see our table, so we push second graph. Okay, let's plot these. So we have -2 is -8, then -5, -2, 1, and 4. Was that right? I think so. Okay. All right. So plotting these points. -2 is -8, -1, -5, 0 and -2, 1 and 1, 2 and 4. And then when you connect your line, remember extend. So just like kindergarten, all those skills of connecting the dots are paying off. Just don't get the nap time with it, unfortunately. Too bad. Okay. So looking at this, what's our y-intercept? Where does it cross the y-axis? At -2. So notice our constant is the y-intercept. And our slope, what are we doing to move from one point to the next? Up, 3 right, 1. So rise over run becomes, what's our slope? 3 over 1, or just 3. So this guy, the coefficient of x is the slope. As long as it's y is isolated. Looking at our other equation, y wasn't isolated. This is not our slope. This is not our y-intercept necessarily. Could be, but y has to be isolated for us to come to these conclusions, right? 4 was not my slope. The constant of 8 was not my y-intercept. We have to isolate for y to figure out what the slope and y-intercept is. Okay, turn to the next page. So now we get to do some quick analysis and then some graphing. So I'm just going to write, we already solved for y in both the equations, so we're going to just rewrite them down. So the second one was y equals 3x minus 2, and the first one we had y equals -2x plus 4. Okay, those are the two equations we had. So how is the slope related to the equation of the line? How is the slope related to the equation? The constant or the coefficient of x? The coefficient. So when we're comparing it to the formula y equals mx plus b, the coefficient of x is the slope. So the number in front of x is our slope. So these guys were our m's, our slopes. Now when we compare the equation to our y-intercept, what's the y-intercept? The constant. So when we're comparing it to y equals mx plus b, the constant, or the b, is the y-intercept. So this is our y-intercept. So here's our b. So the constant is our y-intercept, because that's when x is 0, it'll always equal that constant. The constant doesn't change. And then the coefficient is our slope. So filling in this graph, m is the, a lot of repeat here, slope, b is the y-intercept. Mine went weird, I don't know why. Okay, so turn the page, let's actually do some graphing. So remember when we graph, all graphing, whenever I want to graph, we either need 2 points or we plot 1 point and then use our slope to get another, right? So let's look at our equation here. My equation is 2x minus 1. What's my slope in this equation? 2, and my y-intercept is -1. Keep the sign with it, okay? So when we're graphing these, we always want to plot a point first. What point do we know? The y-intercept. So our first step is going to be plot the y-intercept. Plot the y-intercept. So in this case, my y-intercept is -1. -1. Okay, second step. So how do we get another point after we have plotted 1 point, our y-intercept? Use the slope to get more points. To get more points. So we always have to change our slope into a fraction because it's rise over run. Change of y over change of x. So in this case, I have a slope of 2. How do I make 2 a fraction? 2 over 1. So I'm going to write that as 2 over 1. Now relating it to rise over run, if my rise is 2, what direction? Or positive 2? What, up 2 and then right 1. We've done this before, I think. Methinks. Okay, so up 2, right 1. So that should bring you to 1, 1. Can we keep going with that pattern? Yep, up 2, right 1. Up 2, right 1. We can have some fun here. Or, yeah, what's the opposite direction we could also move? Down 2, left 1. We switch both directions. So just completely opposite. It's because a -2 over -1 is also equal to +2. So down 2, left 1. Okay, and then last, you have to be able to do this without a calculator. You have to be able to do it without a calculator. Okay? Calculator is one skill, but you need to be able to do this. Like, you can't always rely on our calculator. Okay? So, that's what we're practicing today. That's why I don't sometimes like teaching the calculator. Because then we get too reliant on it. Okay, now when we connect our line, oh, I hate the arrow. We extend it from the whole graph, right? It's the whole graph, not just those points. In this discrete data, so like a word problem where you can't have a half of our decimal of something. Okay? So like number of tickets, number of people. So only in word problems. Equations, we always connect. All right, next guy. What is my slope? Jordan. -3. And Amy, what's my y-intercept then? 2. Okay, Luke, what are we plotting first? 2 on the y-axis. What do we have to do with our slope, Sydney? Oh, close. Right, 1. Because what do we have to do with our slope first? Put it over 1, because we have to make it a fraction. Because these are now still equivalent.
Yeah, that's because the other one was kind of hard because it's -1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you thought it related, but it didn't. They're two separate things. Completely two. So we just put it over +1. And so now our direction is down. Yep. Over right 1. Because we're going to go up or down and then right. So always apply the negative to the top. So the bottom stays positive. This way we're always moving right. And it's just up or down. Okay, so from our point, down 3, right 1. What point does that take us to? 1 and -1. 1 and -1. Down 3, right 1. Down. And you should also check, remember a negative slope falls to the right. Is this falling to the right? Yep. And grab our good old rulers, connect our line. So making 3 or 4 points is good. At least 3 or 4 makes a nice line. All right, Tessa, you ready for the next question? What's your slope? 0.5. And our y-intercept, 8. Okay, yeah, 1. Okay, what's wrong with this picture so far? Decimal. We always have to change decimals to fractions. What is 0.5 as a fraction? 1 over 2. Jaden, what's the first thing I plot? 1, the y-intercept of 1, our point of 1. Right? So y-intercept is also the point 0, 1. That's when x is equal to 0. It's a 0.01. Okay, now we use our slope. So if it's positive 1 over positive 2, we're going 1 up to right. Up 1, right 2. So you should be at 2 and 2 is your second point. Up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, and then we grab our line and we draw. Okay, so can you turn the page over and try the first two on your own? Try the first two on your own. Just a little hint. A hint for this last one. If there's no constant shown, what are we really adding then? 0, because there's no constant. Plus 0, okay? So give it a shot and then we'll go through it. Great, Vance, what's the slope of the first one? Slope. -2 over 3. Selena, y-intercept? 3. Okay, so we apply that negative to the top, just to the top, and the bottom stays positive. So then what's our direction? We're going to move. If we have -2, we're going down 2 and right. So we're always moving in the right direction. Okay, Johanna, what did you plot first? 3. And now we go down 2, right 3, down 2, right 3. So your graph should look, hopefully, something like this. Yes, so it's falling because we had a negative slope. Just grab your ruler, connect the line. Oh, pretty close. Something looks weird. Uh-oh, see, I made a mistake. I went down 3 there. Down 2, right 3, down 2, right 3. That like something seemed weird. That's better. Okay, next guy. Natasha, what'd you get for your slope? 4 over 5, good. And then what's the y-intercept? 0. Okay, so first point that we plot, 0. So it's the origin. When we don't have a constant, it's really plus 0. So now we're going to move what direction if it's positive 4 over positive 5? Up 4, right 5. Up 4, right 5. Or down 4, left 5. There it is. Okay, what do we do in a situation like this? When we do not have y equals. Move the x and the constant. So solve for, basically we want to isolate y. We have to get y all by itself before we can do anything with it. Because everything is based on y equals mx plus b. And so we need to isolate y. So we have two options. You can move the 5x and the 9, or we could just move the y. Right? We could either just move the y over, or we can move these two guys over. What would you like to do? Just move the y. So it's one step instead of two. So if we have a plus 3y, we are going to minus 3y. Doesn't matter if the y is on the left side of the equal side or the right. Just the goal is to isolate it. So what's left over? 5x minus 9 equals -3y. It's a y. Last step. Girls, not right now. What are you doing?
I don't know.
It's found on the ground? Oh. Okay, what's the next step? We want isolate y. What would be our next step if we have negative 3 times y? Divide by divide. Because it's being multiplied by the y, we're going to divide everybody by negative 3. Because it was a negative, we have to bring the negative with us. Okay, so 5 divided by negative 3. Let's move the negative to the top. So negative 5/3 x, because we have to divide everybody by negative 3. So instead of leaving the negative on the bottom, I move it to the top. 2 negatives is going to give us a positive. 9 divided by 3 is 3 equals y. So could you rewrite this if you want with the y on the left side? Yeah, it doesn't matter which side y is on the equation. mx plus b equals y is the same thing as y equals mx plus b. Right? It doesn't matter which side y is on the equal sign, it just has to be isolated. Okay, so what's our slope? Did we forget? Negative 5/3, right? The coefficient of x is our slope. What's our y-intercept? Positive 3. What will we plot first then? 3. And what direction are we moving if we're negative 5/3? Down and right. So notice how I move the negative to the numerator so that we're always moving right. The bottom stays always positive. So down and right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, 3 right. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, 3 left. And then grab your ruler and connect it. So you're going to have 3 worksheets for homework, and we're going to walk through a couple of them. So what I need you to get in the homework is from these 3 worksheets. Okay? What I need you to have out is a piece of paper, like wherever you do your homework usually in, and grab the brown booklets. Because the brown booklets are where these worksheets are. And there's 3 of them, 3 graphing worksheets. So you don't need your green book anymore. Just your brown book and something to write on. So this first worksheet doesn't require you to actually show any work because all the equations are in y equals mx plus b already. So you're ready to go to graph. So whom should you see at the bank to borrow money? Okay, so on our first graph, what's the first thing we plot? 1. Our y-intercept is 1. So we plot the 1. And then our slope is 2/3. So if our slope is 2/3, we're going up and right. Pardon me? Oh, okay, so I plotted 1, and then my slope is 2/3, so up to right 3. Okay, so now you're going to take your ruler and connect those points. So grab your ruler and connect them, and you want to see, okay, which letter does it go through? Goes through O. So at the bottom of your page, everywhere you see the number 1, you're going to put an O. It's going to answer the question. Okay, so at the very bottom, put an O under 1. Okay, so that's how we're going to solve each one of these. They're all in y equals, so you're good to go. Just remember, if there's no constant, your y-intercept is 0. So the very last one, you're really plus 0, so your constant is 0. Okay, so this page is really straightforward. It should be really quick. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Okay. Go to the last one. It says, no, which one is that next one? The cow? No. Oh yeah, why does a poor man drink coffee? This is where you're going to need your notes because you need to solve for y, and I want you to show your work for solving for y, isolating y. Okay? So on something, you need to solve for y. So if you can show your work, I don't think there's enough room here, So you really need to write it on a piece of paper. Okay, so let's write out our equation and we're going to solve for y. So let's start with the first one. I'm going to do the first two with you. Okay, so if we want to solve for y, what's the first step here? Do we divide first or do we move the x? Move the x when x and y are together. So if we have a minus 3x, we're going to plus 3x to both sides. So the negative 3x and the positive 3x will cancel out, and we will be left with 2y equals 3x. Put the x first and then the constant. And what's the sign for the constant? Plus or negative? Plus, so plus 2. Okay, now we have one more step. So after we move the x, now we can divide everything by 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Be very careful. So we have y equals, we're going to write 3 over 2 as a fraction, so separate it. So 3 over 2x. What is 2 divided by 2? 1, not 0. 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. 2 groups of 2. Okay, or I guess that's different. What are we going to plot first? 1. So the y-intercept is 1, and our slope, we are moving up 3, and then right 2. Connect the points, and it goes through. Does it go through R? I think my line is not very good. It should go through R if I draw it better. Okay, so now wherever on the bottom you have a 1, put an R. Yeah, I think it's because I did a really bad angle. Okay, let's go through the second one together. You okay? Okay, so x minus 4y equals 0, or equals 8. X minus 4y equals 8. I'm going to write it up here. X minus 4y equals 8. Okay, so what's our first step? Move the x. If we have a positive x, we are going to subtract x. So what's left over? A negative 4y is left over, so bring that sign. Equals, put x and then the constant. So how would that look like? Negative x plus 8. Negative x plus 8. And one more step, divide everybody by negative 4. Okay, so let's talk about what happens here. We have, do the negative 4's cancel out? Yes. So we have y equals. We want to turn that into a fraction. First off, 2 negatives, what will that equal? A positive. So we have x over 4. We have x over 4. What's the coefficient in front of x beforehand? What was it? It was just a 1. And so instead of writing it x divided by 4, we're going to write that as 1/4 x. 1/4 x. Dividing something by 4 is the same thing as multiplying it by a quarter. Right? The coefficient, if you don't see it here, you have to put it in. It was a 1. So now do you see how it's 1/4? 1/4 x, and then a positive divided by a negative, minus 2. Okay, so let's plot this one. Our y-intercept is negative 2. Y-intercept negative 2. Did you lose it? Do you want me to bring it back up? Oh, it's gone. Sorry. I don't know where it went. I could write it. Oh, it was back? Oh, no. Oh, there you go. Get it? Okay, so our slope is 1 over 4, so what direction are we moving? Up 1, right 4. Up 1, right 4. Do you get that down? So up 1, right 4. Oops, wrong thing. Up 1, right 4. Draw the line, goes through O. So down below where you see a 2, write O. Okay, so on these ones, you need to solve for x and y. Turn to the next one, next page. So there's 3 of them. The first one will go really fast. And as you get fast at solving for y, it's really quick. Once you have the equation, it's super fast. Okay, so the last equation, I'm just going to erase this because it follows me, is, what's the title? This one's a little bit different, how it's set up. Why did the cow want a divorce? First, we need to talk about a y equals equation. So if you could write this down, maybe in your homework stuff. If we have a y equals some constant, some number, what would the line look like? Y equals close. It's the other one. It's horizontal. There's no, it's going to be a horizontal line. So whenever we just have no x, so, yes there is. Okay, so this will be a horizontal line through -2, through y equals -2. Y equals -2 is right here, and then it's a horizontal line because there's no x. And so it goes through which letter? F. In this activity, you're going to cross out the letters it goes through. So if it goes through F, we're going to cross out all the F's you see down below. And what is left over is going to spell something. Okay? Now, whenever we have x equals some constant, what kind of line is it going to be? It'll be a vertical line, right? Notice that there's only one variable. Whenever there's only one variable, it's either going to be horizontal or vertical. So this would be vertical, going through x equals 4. So where's x equal to 4? That's x equal to 4 right there. And so now we're going to draw a vertical line through that. What does it go through? P. So cross out all the p's. Okay? So whenever there's one variable, you have to solve for that one variable, and it will be a vertical or horizontal line. Vertical or horizontal line. Okay? One more thing. Can we look at one more? Let's look at 6 together. No, not 6. No. Go to the previous page. I'm looking for a specific idea I want to show you. Okay, go to the previous one. Oh, if there's no y, we just solve for x. Right? Solve for x, because then it's going to be a vertical line. Whenever there's one variable, it'll be vertical or horizontal. Okay, so on the previous page, I had one that I know for sure. Yes, number 5. Let's look at number 5 together. 3x minus y equals 1. 3x minus 5, or minus y. Come on. Why isn't it working? Doesn't matter. No, you can write on the board. I just did it. Yeah. No. Oh, yeah, you're right. So if I just go like this, there it is. Look what I did. You're so smart. I have to keep you guys around more often. There we go. Okay, so it was 3x minus y equals what? 1? Okay, first step. First step. This is number 5, right? Or 6? 5. Okay, want to get y by itself. Who do we move first? X. So positive 3x, we are going to subtract 3x. These guys are gone. We're left, what are we left with? Negative y equals, put the x first, negative 3x plus 1. The sign for the 1 is a positive if there's no sign there. Can we have a negative y? No, we want just y equals. So how do we get rid of the negative? Divide everybody by negative 1. So basically, what are we doing? We're flipping all the signs. The negative y becomes a positive y. The negative 3x becomes a positive 3x. And plus 1 becomes a minus 1. because we subtracted it to the other side. So we have a minus 3x plus 1 because that sign goes with the 3. Okay? All right, so you have the rest of the block to work on this homework.